Things might have gone much better for Huck and Jim if they had left the raft and walked back to Cairo. But they didn't. And so their troubles really began. As they were about to leave...
Ho there, young sir. Stay a moment, will you?
A man rounded the bend, running. He was about 30 years old and rather poorly dressed.
I say, my young friend, I'd be most grateful if I could book temporary passage aboard your vessel for my companion and myself. I'm afraid that we are rather late for a rather important rendezvous.
Your companion? I don't see...
Just then, another man rounded the bend. This one was about 70 and was, if anything, worse looking than the first.
This is my traveling companion and a source of constant inspiration to all those who have the honor of his presence. May I present the Dauphin, rightful heir to the throne of France? Bow. You must bow.
They bowed.
And may I present my companion, a man in whom I have the utmost trust and respect, a man who has thrilled the crowned heads of Europe with his good looks, his uncanny savoir-faire, and his matchless Suzette, the Duke of Bridgewater.
Oh, your majesty, the purity of your soul knows no bounds. But now we must be off before these fools, before our friends from town catch up to us. We get requests for encores wherever we go, you know. Your majesty, this way, please.
You are too kind.
And so Huck and Jim were joined by the king and the duke. As the day wore on, Huck became more convinced that they were not what they claimed to be. The king had brought along a rather large jug of whiskey, and as the two men sat in the corner of the raft, drinking and plotting, they drained the jug to the last drop. By this time, the king began calling the duke Bilgewater, and the duke began calling the king a slimy toad and a blatherskate. And they soon fell into a rather noisy sleep.
Jim, those two are slipperier than a catfish in a frying pan. They're so full of flim-flam and flapdoodle that, I swear, if they was to fall off the raft right now, they'd sink straight to the bottom of the Mississippi without ever waking up. I vote we leave them high and dry at the next stop.
You got the right idea there, Huck.
The next stop was the town of Parkville. As they floated downriver, the day went by, and the king and the duke made plans to put on a show.
We'll do the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet.
Huck watched the two scoundrels as they rehearsed. He had no way of knowing that their version of the balcony scene had bits and pieces from no less than 5 of Shakespeare's plays. Still, he was not impressed.
Jim, I don't know this fella Shakespeare from Andy Jackson, but if I was him, and I heard them two blabbering my words all around, I swear I'd be after him with a pickaxe.
They came to a town with a large meeting hall, and the Duke began to pass out handbills for the show. That night, they gave the performance, and only 12 people showed up.
It is clear to me that these people need an attraction with a great deal less culture.
I agree.
The Duke walked to the center of the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, your kind indulgence, please. My associate and myself would first like to thank you for your kind reception of our show this evening. Secondly, I wish to announce the performance of a work in your hall tomorrow night, one which we last performed before the crowned heads of the Dutch Antilles. It is entitled A Royal Nonsuch, and I feel certain that you gentlemen will enjoy it. I say gentlemen because, and I cannot emphasize this too strongly, absolutely no women or children will be allowed to enter the theater during the performance tomorrow under any circumstances whatsoever.